As we're taking a look back at my Deep Dive National Centers for Environmental Prediction series, this week we'll first start focusing on the Climate Prediction Center that draws outlooks like this, showing where areas could see above or below normal, in this case temperatures, over longer lead times. So what do these maps mean? So you see that cooler than normal and warmer than normal on the maps, but in the middle you have that equal chances. That's a third chance of well below normal, a third of a chance of near normal, and a third of a chance of well above normal. If you go to the cool side of things and it's in that dark blue shading, that's a pretty high confidence in well below normal temperatures. It doesn't dictate the magnitude. It doesn't mean that temperatures will be very below normal. It just means that it'll be below that climatological average for the past 30 years. And the same thing, the higher the confidence that you have on the warmer side, the darker the color will be on that map. So to predict these long-range forecasts, you have to look at teleconnections. There's significant relationships or links between weather phenomena at widely separated locations all around the globe. And you can think of the jet stream as a superhighway carrying weather systems all around the globe. And with the peaks and troughs to the jet stream, that impacts temperature, rainfall, winds, etc. And it all has downstream impacts, like a river, where if there's a dip or a peak in the jet stream over the Pacific Ocean, that will have an impact over North America. And it behaves like a seesaw, these teleconnection patterns, positive or negative phases where the jet stream's in certain positions. That leads to different temperature and precipitation outlooks. 30 to 40 forecasters at the Weather Prediction Center. They have two branches, forecast and operations, and development and training. And these are a short list of some of the products that they're responsible for, and we'll go over them here in the next couple of minutes. So first, drawing surface analyses. They do this every 3 hours, where they're drawing cold fronts, warm fronts, stationary fronts, occluded fronts. Cold fronts, you have the cold air coming in behind that front. Warm front, warm air moving in behind the front. Stationary, there is a boundary because of wind shift, converging winds, differences in temperature. Occluded front, that's when a system is really late in its life cycle and really well developed and mature. And then you can also have these other symbols on these surface analyses that they draw, squall lines associated with thunderstorms, as well as dry lines and troughs. So these are drawn by hand, and that's where we get our areas of low pressure, high pressure analyzed just based on surface observations. Then, from that current conditions of the surface analysis, they produce short and medium range weather and frontal forecast over the next 3 days. And these are really easy to understand snapshots of the projected weather over the next 3 days with areas of rain and thunderstorms, and then even projecting that into the next 7 days with the fronts and areas of high and low pressure. Next, they forecast precipitation. So they have these QPF forecasts, quantitative precipitation forecasts. They issue these 2 times per day for the next 7 days at various intervals. They can adjust certain areas by hand, and it's a whole blend of models that goes into these QPF forecasts. The ideal scenario with severe weather is you have the Storm Prediction Center issuing outlooks in the days before a severe weather event. The day of the event, they issue mesoscale discussions, which really hone in on areas of thunderstorm development that could turn severe in the coming hours, and maybe hint on issuing a severe thunderstorm or tornado watch in the next couple of hours. And this can get a little technical with the certain parameters that are in place in the current environment. Then the watch gets issued in collaboration with the Storm Prediction Center and the local National Weather Service offices. Then the National Weather Service offices issue those much smaller warnings for the imminent danger of severe thunderstorms or tornadoes. So at the Storm Prediction Center, they take a lot of data from forecast models and draw these outlooks all across the country. Now in the extended range, days 4 through 8, there's a lot more uncertainty, so they're just trying to target patterns that have the potential for a higher end severe weather outbreak. And then in the days 1, 2, and 3 outlooks, they have a 5-category scale going from level 1, isolated severe thunderstorms possible, all the way up to, let's say, level 3, numerous severe storms possible, to the rare level 4 and 5, where widespread severe storms are possible and likely. So it's coverage based, but also intensity of the severe weather possible. So aside from a flight delay due to storms, there are a variety of other hazards that could potentially impact your flight. So the Aviation Weather Center forecasts these potentially hazardous weather conditions to help ensure the most accurate and up-to-date weather information is available for pilots. You might have to change routes of planes. You might need to delay a flight in order to make sure that it's not going to go into those hazardous weather conditions. So within the Aviation Weather Center, there's two main branches. The Domestic Operations branch focuses on the lower 48, forecasting for these 5 main variables. Icing, here's one of their forecasts from the Aviation Weather Center's website, identifying those areas across the country that have that icing threat, because icing can be pretty impactful to flights with decreased lift, increased weight, drag, and reduced thrust. And there's different layers of the atmosphere where there's super cooled water droplets in the atmosphere. Specifically, when you have really tall clouds, can deposit themselves onto planes' wings in clear or rime ice formats. And then with the convective warnings, they're called SIGMETs. It's kind of like a thunderstorm we have here, warning that we have here on the ground, but for airplanes, because those tall cumulonimbus clouds can introduce turbulence and other hazards to planes. And here's that turbulence forecast that they have across the country. I hope you enjoyed this look back at my National Centers for Environmental Prediction Deep Dive series.
Good to see Jacob there, of course, on paternity leave right now, and he was live in person with Reggie and Xavier yesterday.
Beautiful
here
baby
on
who
the
looks just like him.
Looks just like him.